Let's see if it actually started streaming. You want to check?
I'll jump on.
Hello, Earthlings. Let us know if you see us.
Let's take a look.
And if you can hear us, if there aren't any issues.
Oh, we're live. Yeah, we are live.
I want to find a place where this thing is not going to fall.
I mean, you got a pretty decent flat surface, so I think it'd be alright.
Yeah, that should be okay.
You heard there's like surrounding cities near us, man. They got like smacked with so much rain and wind that like there are certain cities I can think of right now won't have power until the 21st.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right, I see. We got Aime and
hello, people of
Mabel.
Earth. Let us know if you can hear us, if there isn't any static. Today we're going to talk about how your sin is going to kill you.
How their sin? You mean our sin?
No, your sin. You who are watching. All right. I think we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about our favorite topic.
Sin.
Is it our favorite topic? I don't know about that. But
I mean, it might be your favorite topic. I don't know.
Well, sin is not talked about enough in this day and age. So there's that.
True.
But anyways, guys, so today we're going to be talking about sin.
But before we go into it, welcome to Reform Nerd.
Yes.
Where the Bible and anime collide into one. We got our main host here, Manny, and then I'm the nutcase that he decides to bring on every week.
Yeah, bro.
I am Andres.
Try to die.
Andy for short, if you want to call me that. And if you have any biblical questions or you're ever wondering if you can ever do anime and Christianity together, we kind of just get together and show you that it is possible.
Yeah, bro. Watching anime is not a sin.
Although depending what you watch can be. So remember, guys.
Don't listen to Andres.
Listen. I'm going to make this real clear. At least me. I don't know about Manny, but guys, we don't condone fan service. So no food wars.
No
kind of crazy stuff. All right. So that's where we draw the line, but we try and see how the Bible can, be implemented into anime. Because
you might need to scooch over.
Oh, it's okay. I don't want to be too close to you. That's fine.
For the if we want to show the chat.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be tough for them to see you. I mean, I'm pretty.
No, you're good.
You can come a little bit more, just so I can see you.
We're good.
What's up, guys? Welcome. All right, so off to the topic at hand. So today we're gonna be talking about sin, and specifically what I want to focus on today is how we know that sin leads to death. Sin leads you away from God.
Yes.
But the interesting thing about sin is that it increments, right? And over time, a sin that you would have never considered, now you're almost blind to it. And we're going to be talking about different examples in the Bible and in anime that showcase this. And it's a warning for all of us to be mindful of what we do, what we allow ourselves to do. And first of all, I want to talk to you today about our boy, Light Yagami. Andreso.
Oh, man. Death Note. Love it.
Hook it up.
Love it. I'll give you guys a quick synopsis of Death Note. So Death Note is this amazing story written about a teenage guy who actually finds a book that the Grim Reaper uses. They're called Shinigamis, but it's a Grim Reaper. And whenever you write the name of the person inside of the book, they die. So in this case, this is really just nothing more than the conversion of a regular high school teenager turning into a god.
A fake god.
A fake god. Deciding who gets to live, who gets to die. And it's a really great story. It's dark, but not to a point that, would scare people away. Don't watch the Netflix version. Absolutely horrible. That was trash.
But primarily, we're going to be talking about this guy, Light Yagami.
This is our main character.
Yeah,
right
so let's read this quick description here about our boy, Light Yagami.
So,
Go
like
ahead.
how he goes, he starts off using the Death Note just to take out criminals. Right? He had a strong sense of justice. He felt like, he knew what was right and what was wrong. But once L, his main enemy, is pretty much his competitor, he worked with the police. He entered the scene. That's where he starts his journey of becoming a villain of Death Note. So this is the good guy turned evil. And, he gets to a point where he fears that he will lose his power. He gets a huge fear that he will get caught. And he begins to meticulously just start slowly picking off anybody who was a threat and catching him. He manipulated a girl who was in love with him named Misa. He had a really creepy follower named Ren who he manipulated as well. He killed certain characters like Ray and Naomi. And he even got to the point of killing Naomi. He even got to the point of killing his biggest threat, which was L. So it's just this amazing story about somebody who starts with the right intentions and was actually a heart-filled person, and then how he just goes through, right? He gets to, erase his memories. Just a lot of crazy stuff in the story.
Yeah, and the thing about Light is that at first, when he first gets this death note, right, he writes a name and people die of a heart attack, right? That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
He starts from a stoic position. Like, he starts killing off, like, people that have gone away with murder, people that are in prisons, things like that. So he mainly focuses on evil people, perceived evil people. However, as Anderson was saying, as things progressed, then he started to fall in love with this power that he had. He wanted to keep it. He didn't want to get caught. And then ultimately, it led him down a path where he was just killing anybody that would get in his way. Ultimately showing us, right, where sin can land you, right? He got something that he was potentially using it for good in a way, but then ultimately, because he wanted to hold on to that power, or he became desensitized, right, to sin, then he continued down a darker path. And our first example for today, right, what we're going to be talking about is Samson.
My boy Samson.
Samson, bro, is like the dumbest character in the Bible, I think.
Samson is a simp.
You could consider him that. I would say so.
Samson was a simp. Let's be honest, man.
Yeah.
This dude loved chasing after girls, and that ended up being his downfall, and that's actually what turns him away from women. So, quick sidebar: missionary dating somebody who is not a Christian to try and convert them to be a Christian. Samson is a good example of how that does not work.
Yes, and we're gonna talk a little bit about our boy Samson and what happens in his story. Like, because a lot of people remember, even when you're growing up, if you saw the story, you probably remembered more of, like, his physical strength, his long hair, and ultimately, like, ending up blind and God stepping away from him and him, like, killing a bunch of Philistines. But in between that, there is this lustful relationship that he has with women.
Yeah, because it's not just one; it's actually multiple women he chases after.
Yes, there's multiple ones, and
Samson was for the streets.
he was the thought of the Bible. The thought. There you go. Thought. Yeah, I'm not in with the lingo, but his first encounter, as I was looking up, for this podcast, I haven't read the story in a little bit, guys. But anyways, his first encounter is with one woman. I forget. Let me see her name here. It's Timnah. Right, that was the first one
I even forgot that.
Yeah, that was the first one that he meets, right? And he was getting ready to marry her, and he wasn't supposed to marry her because she wasn't of his people, right? Like, that was forbidden. So he was going against his parents, right? Just because
against his culture, dude.
Yeah, against his culture,
and also the Judaism of the time. You weren't not supposed to intermix with other people.
Yep. So he just wanted, he wanted what he wanted. He wanted that girl. And that ultimately landed him into a bunch of conflict.
Yeah, homeboy was forever fighting with people.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, what is it? He tells a riddle, and then ultimately she, like, gets the riddle from him. She tells her people, and then...
No, that's Delilah. That's Delilah.
No. That's her. That's
Timnah?
Yeah,
really?
That's Timnah. Yeah, yep. Believe me. And he calls her like a fat cow
Liachi.
at a point because she betrayed him. She tells the Philistines.
Seems like your mic went a little lower from what I missed saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm hitting like the yellows.
Oh, here, I'll bring it up a bit. Let me know if that's any better.
No, bring that down a little bit.
Yeah, there.
There you go.
So that's his first one, right? You know, there's this woman that he wasn't supposed to be with, but he liked her, so he's like, I'm going to do whatever I want. And then we see another instance where the Bible says that he met this woman in a far land and she was a prostitute. That's all we hear.
Yeah.
So you can infer that he probably went to meet with her to do the thing.
Listen,
to do the
prostitution
dirty.
was a real thing back then.
Yep.
We don't condone it.
And meanwhile, all this time he's supposed to be a judge from the Lord. Like, remember that. Okay.
That, and he was a Nazarite too.
Yeah.
So he wasn't supposed to touch any dead carcasses. He wasn't supposed to drink alcohol. He was supposed to live above reproach. He was actually kind of like a really cheap foreshadowing of Jesus, if you think about it.
Yes.
Jesus was a Nazarite too.
Yeah, so
Actually, wait, was he?
he was supposed to be like a leader for his people.
Yeah, that's more of what it
ultimately.
should be.
Yeah. And obviously he just like
Completely messed it up.
yeah.
Although it was
completely.
kind of cool how he killed all those Philistines with the donkey's jaw.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
pretty
I mean, he was definitely like the Hulk, right? The
Oh,
Hulk.
I mean,
The
that's how
slutty Hulk of the
geez,
Bible.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's his second, right? So you start to see this pattern as you're reading the story about Samson, right? And his stuff just continuously like gets worse and worse. And then finally we get to your girl Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell them about Delilah?
Nah, bro. Again, homegirl was of the streets. She actually belonged to the enemies of the Jews. She was a Philistine at the time, and pretty much he caught eyes of her, and he was like, "Yo, what's up? I'm trying to like get to know you a little bit more." Like, and you know, his enemies found out. They're like, "Yo, if you can get this guy to fall in love with you, find out his secret, so we can defeat him." And a super long story short, she tries multiple times. This is how you know Samson was dumb. Right? Because she tries multiple times to get him to express a secret. He lies to her. She tells the people, and then they go and do the lie that he said to her. So you would think probably after the first one, they'd be like, oh, she's telling my enemies my fake secret so they can try and kill me. Nah, this dude goes through it 4 different times. And she nags him so much that he finally gives up the secret. They cut off his hair, which is where his power was coming from, which was really from God. It was just symbolizing his connection. And he gets caught, he gets beaten, he gets put into this temple, and then he prays to God. His hair begins to grow, knocks down the temple, and kills all the Philistines inside of it with himself.
Do you remember how many times she like tried to get him to tell her the secret before like he actually told her?
I remember he tells her to weave his hair in certain locks, tie him up in rope twice. The rope thing was twice. And then there was a time that he told her actually the legitimate secret. So I think it was 4 times. 3 times.
Okay, so it says 3 times.
Technically 4, right? Because you got
The last one.
Yeah, with the last one to be 4.
Yeah. So Samson was a simp, and I mean anybody with a brain would have been able to tell that this girl was just out to get him. But then ultimately he didn't see that. He tells her that the secret is that he hasn't cut his hair because he was
never had a blade put on his head.
Now ultimately people come out of there like, oh, it was his locks that was giving him the strength. Ultimately it does tell us that the Spirit of God left him.
Yes.
So ultimately it was God himself who chose, all right, I'm not gonna back you any longer because you're being a dummy.
Well, he broke his promise.
Yeah.
Right? He broke his promise.
All right, let's catch up on some chats real quick before we continue here. Let's see. Missionary dating. Never heard of that phrase before.
Oh yeah.
Yo, it's real. It's real.
That's
it's like
real thing.
and it happens a lot with women.
And
right? They're
men.
like, I'm gonna fix this heathen, and I'm gonna bring them to the Lord.
It never works out. Trust me.
All right, let's see. Check out what Rafi says. You want to read that one?
See, there's a Bible trend in men who start with the letter S-A. You got, so Solomon does not start with an S-A, unfortunately. And Samson, known to be after the ladies. Definitely a red flag unless you're Samuel. He was one of the good ones.
No, yeah. These guys, man. A lot of men fell because of lustful desires.
I mean,
another one that we're gonna go with in a little bit as well.
This tells you, dude. It's like, man, we need to be very careful with the women that we involve ourselves with.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, all of these, these downfalls didn't start with like just one single decision, and that's what I wanna drive home today. It's like, look, it starts like, let's say, if you're struggling with pornography or something, like it starts with you looking at like one picture, and then it leads to like another picture.
It starts with you scrolling on Instagram or on Twitter. If you are, I am getting to the point where I don't think a Christian should have Twitter. I got back onto X and I had to delete
Twitter. No, man, I could never get into like Twitter. So
I kind of started liking it again, bro, and it was like, okay, no, I can't.
Yeah, just get into Twitch. I hear Twitch is fun these days.
That's a separate topic for another day. We gotta cover. That's a different topic. Although, how many video gamers do we got that actually watch us? If you're a video gamer, type in something. Tell us your favorite game, what you play on the live or even on the rewatch. If you're watching this, let us know in the comments what's one of your favorite video games, and if maybe we should even start implementing some video game stuff too.
Oh yeah,
I'm
trying
down
to play some games,
dude. I'm down.
Bueno, we'll see. What have you played, and then I'll just make fun of you while you lose.
Oh jeez.
But what were we saying? Yeah, that it's a slippery slope and starts with like one thing. Let's say you're scrolling, maybe you click on one picture, maybe you click on two, and then you start thinking, well, I'm already this far, might as well continue and continue, and then ultimately like you're full in sin to the point where you're not even seeing straight anymore. Like you're not thinking straight. And I think that's how, I mean, it's not, I think, that's how sin gets you. That's how the devil gets you. That's how he got Eve. Right, he tempted her with the eyes, and then he started like picking at her brain until she just, I ate it. I might as well get my boy Adam to eat it.
Yeah, it's always like that. You never decide to do the worst of the worst. You just slowly start to compromise bit by bit, and it's in every single thing we watch. Right, you have so many Christians who are in Hollywood or in the music industry, and they just slowly start to compromise. That's why the word talks about, us being a light on the hill, that we shouldn't cover our light, all these different things, just to say the simple fact that we need to be constant living examples of Christ. That's just it.
So our next example that we're going to be going over today as well is our buddy Aaron.
Aaron Yeager.
This brother, man, he was supposed to be the Jesus figure. Look at that with the hands. He's like, look at my hands,
I didn't even realize that. Wow.
Yeah, dude, there is this scene. Dude, I'm telling you, people. I'm gonna say it again. People get on me because I'm like, oh, well, this is all Eastern, blah blah, and like they don't know Christianity. I'm like, yeah, bro, come on.
Oh, please. They do. They pull stuff all the time.
All the time. Look, there's Yeager. Like, look at my hand. But anyways, there's another part where he's like, trust in me. When he's like chained up. Like he's at
when he's in
like
Marley?
Way at the beginning, yeah. When he first gets caught.
Spoiler alert.
Well, this is like when he first turns into a Titan for the first time. That they catch him. He's in a trial. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, put your trust in me or some crap like that. You're like, wow. And I'm like, that has, to me, till this point, that's like the biggest Jesus moment that he has.
I gotta rewatch that.
But Aaron started the same way.
Yeah.
Aaron started, right? He was going to defeat the Titans, and he was going to save humanity. Because remember, at that time, right, for that place, that was like the only humanity that he knew. So he was going to fight the Titans and save humanity. And what does he end up doing, Andre?
He ends up spoiler, he ends up destroying 80% of humanity. 80%. There is nothing.
What is it? The rumbling?
Yeah, the rumbling. That's what it was. When he does the rumbling, it's just like the trembling. I mean, he just tried everything that he could to save his friends, but it ended up killing 80% of humanity. So would you consider, is that a good trade-off? Save your 5 people and destroy 80% of humanity? Like, I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to be in his position to make such a decision, but...
Dude, some of these scenes that you see were like
the dad with the little girl, man,
and the kid that was like saving money.
Oh, that was rough. That was
like
rough.
all of these people that he killed, like without any remorse. And it's like, and again, it started off with one thing, and then he continued to the point where he didn't even know what he was doing. He was just like, I gotta do what I gotta do, and he just kept going.
Hey, Jonah, so he left 20% because 20% of humanity was not enough to fight the rest of the Eldians on Paradise Island. That's why he left 20%.
I will give it to him though. Like, that's like such an arbitrary number, and then you also think about like, how did he calculate 80%? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, but again, here's another thing that we never thought about, but here's like another way where he seems like God, right? Because he's over here calculating as to how many people should die and
how many should live.
Die. Yeah. He's
Humanity's
playing God.
horrible.
He's playing God.
But yet again, this is another person that got some power and committed one sin after another that just continued to get worse and worse and worse. And then ultimately, like Yagami and Aaron as well, it led to his death. Samson as well. And his sin ended up in death, even though he was redeemed at the end because he recognized the errors of his ways.
It's like as if power just corrupts people and puts them to a point where they were good and they turn evil. Like, right? Like, remember Aaron? He was a sweet kid. He had such high hopes and aspirations, and then the reality of life like corrupted him. And put him to
was he sweet?
He was sweet. I mean, the fact that he killed, the people trying to kill Mikasa.
You think he was a sweetheart?
I mean, he definitely cared for her, so I would kind of say, yeah, he was. I don't know, man. I mean, I liked Aaron a lot. He was a really cool character. Like, he was like this stereotypical like shonen type of character that you like, and then to see him, go down this path was amazing to me. Like, I thought it was amazing character development. I thought so.
Maybe we'll see. The verdict is still out.
Right.
However, let's talk about our next example for today before we end this segment.
My boy.
And that is David.
The man after God's own heart.
David, bro. David, man.
King David.
What's up with all these wiener pictures?
Because Michelangelo. That's supposed to be David.
Oh, David was running around naked and whatnot.
Back then, Michelangelo, all those people had a thing with everybody being naked.
Oh, yeah?
Apparently.
Is that what it is?
That's what it's supposed to be.
All right, so check it out. Talk to us about David, Andre.
King David, man. You go from a shepherd boy to serving under the king to having a king kill you to running away from the king.
The king didn't kill him.
Well, Saul tried to.
Yeah.
But he ran away. He lived in a cave. He could have killed him. And then, he waits for him to die. And then he eventually becomes the king. David is a very honorable and interesting character that we see in the Bible.
Is he honorable?
For the most part, up until he decided to
kill. For a long time, I kind of wondered, like, bro, I don't know. Did David make it? And then eventually I ran into that Hebrews section.
You must have not read Hebrews then, bro.
Where he's listed on there. Ese tipo, like, he made it like, like we say, de chepa, bro. Like, it was like, he just squeezed it. He just, like, squeezed it.
Everybody, all of the heroes of the faith, bro, made it into heaven, de chepa, bro.
Like, it goes
Nobody
to show,
made it off their own merits.
It goes to show how reliable the Bible is, because it's brutally honest with its heroes, right? I think that if somebody were to, would have tried to make the Bible in a way where everyone would consume it, they wouldn't have made so many dysfunctional people like we see in the Bible.
I mean, we always see it in history, right? The winners depict themselves as perfect.
100%.
Here are a bunch of people who were still winners, but they were depicted in such horrible ways. Like David was another thought. This dude, when he becomes a king, sees a chick bathing. Like, who the heck just goes out of their palace, looks out and finds a chick showering, and then just creepily stares?
Well, what happened? Well, you know what happened, right? He was supposed to be out at war. The Bible tells us, like, this was the time where kings were out at war.
Yeah.
But he got fat and lazy, and he decided to stay at home. So God would have had him be out at war, but he stayed at home. That was his first mistake, right? Sin. He started to disobey God. Then he sees this woman. Oh, she's kind of cute. Then he's like, hey, come on over, right?
No, that was not a come on over. That was like, yo, she's popping. She's mine. And he kind of had the whole, well, I'm a king, so whatever I say goes.
I will say.
I don't think that was.
I'm gonna start a little controversy here.
Here we go.
There are some people that argue whether or not it was forceful. Like they go as far as say, well, now we're inferring. You don't see either or.
No, you don't. But I always looked at it as like, yo, I'm the king. I get whatever I want.
He invites her over.
Exactly. So she knew what's up. She knew what time it was.
Yeah. So a lot of people infer that was like coercion, right? Abuse of power in a way. I don't know. Maybe Bathsheba was like, "Yo, this is my way to get into like royalty." Like
could have been. She could have been. I mean, is she listening? No,
but that is not talked a lot about. So again, I just want to say that the Bible's not quite clear as to how things went down. However, I will say that the popular view is that it was forced. That's most people lean that way.
That's the most common view, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so that happened, and then what happens next?
So he sleeps with her. Then he finds out that she's a married woman that happens to be the wife of like one of his best generals. And then he finds out that she's pregnant.
Yep.
So he says, okay, instead of me maybe coming to the truth of this, remember when we talked about those white lies, guys? He said, I'm going to make sure this guy dies so I can claim her as my wife.
Yep.
So he went from lusting after her to sleeping with her.
Well, he first went from not listening to God and not being out at war, being fat and lazy.
So real quick, men, when God calls us to be in certain places and to do certain things, stay there and be there until he calls you out of it, because then you get into situations like this.
Yep.
When you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're going to get hurt. 100%. Physically, spiritually, emotionally, there's many different ways you can get hurt, but it happens. So, disobeyed God, was being lazy, started lusting, slept with a married woman, killed her husband to claim her as his wife.
So people would not find out that he had
he was out there in these streets.
Yeah, he was out there in the streets while this guy was in war.
Oh, and the best part about it too is when he invited. So this is how dirty David was. He then, before he kills the guy, he tells him, "Hey, come back, sleep with your wife. You've been out there. It's been a hard time." So he tried to hide the kid, and this dude was like, "Nah, fam. All my boys are out in war right now. The last thing I'm gonna do is go enjoy myself when my guys are out there struggling. I need to be there with my men."
Yeah, Uriah, right? Uriah was a man's man, man. He was like, "Yo, my boys are struggling. I ain't gonna be here having a party while they're out there." But then again, it's the same thing. It started with one thing, and it just continued. And if you look back at David's life when he was young, it says that he was faithful to God, and that's why he was able to conquer Goliath. Yep. And then over time, he remained faithful even in his adulthood when.
He remained faithful.
When the king, what's his name?
What's all?
When he was coming after David, he even refused to kill him because he was God's anointed. So throughout all this time, bro, he stayed faithful. And then, sometimes, you get a little bit of money, you get a little bit of power, and then you become complacent. And that was his undoing ultimately. But then again, guys, like this is why you need accountability in your life. You have to be careful of falling down this path of, continual sin, where it gets to a point where you don't even recognize that this is as bad as it really is, right? You start telling yourself, well, I'm already this far, I've already done this. What's one more thing? And then you get in dangerous situations, how all of these guys ended up.
I got to slow you down, bro, because...
Slow me down.
I don't know what song.
Slow down.
Oh, geez.
I just want to
stop. No, so what we really got to look at too is that this is what happens when we lie.
Oh, okay.
When we lie,
break it down.
So when we lie,
two mics.
Oh my Lord! So when we lie, we try to cover ourselves, and covering yourself ends up causing you to lie even more, right? So. Think about different situations where it can affect us. Maybe we lie to our parents about things that we supposedly purchased or whatnot. Like, it gets to a point where you have to lie so freaking much, man. And it becomes, like, impossible to know it. It's like, this is where this stuff comes from. lying about what's going on does not help the situation. Trying to cover yourself so you don't have to deal with the pain at that specific point in time is a big problem. If there's anything that I've learned in my own life, is that just say the truth from the front, rip the Band-Aid off, and then from there you can deal with the consequences. But lying about one thing to then lie about something else and to lie about something else, you better start writing down all these lies so you can get this thing going.
It's hard to to confess. That's a tough step,
Dude.
So it's
rough.
All this to say, like, we know it's not easy, right?
No.
It's easier said than done, as they say. I think Rafi said something. You want to read that?
She says, it's weird to me how some movies depict Bathsheba as a seductive person, almost like as if she asked for it. But this chick had her husband killed and had to do what David asked of her. So wait, Rafi, are you saying kind of like having the sympathy for being forced on everything from what the king wanted? Because even like when you look at the Bible, actually when you look at the Bible, you don't really see like how would she even feel about having her husband be killed. So that's an interesting point in it right there. I just don't know where exactly you're going from that. And then her firstborn was David's son. So, yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, I think she's saying that in the movies that she's seen, Bathsheba is like portrayed as like the seductive woman.
I mean, I don't know how they bathed in biblical times, but to be bathing outside, even if it's on the roof of your house, like... Do we not see how that's a little problematic?
Well, I think from my understanding, no one is really supposed to be able to see you up there. But I from what I remember, it is something that was commonly done back then.
Okay, so you show
me. from what I remember when I studied it.
Because then it would make sense because the palace is going to be the highest.
Yeah, because think about it. Most people would have not been able to see what she was doing.
You gotta do like how we do in DR, bro, man. You get a whole barrel, un cubo.
Just dip in there.
Boom, right.
Dragon Ball Z status. They still use schools over there. But yeah. So put in here in the chats any other questions that you want to ask, because we're going to move on to another quick section. We're gonna show you a couple of videos that we want your opinions on, and if you have any videos that you want us to look at while we're here, put those links in the chat.
Oh, and real quick, Manny, you know what's really weird? Other than me, what? We got 6 people watching and only 4 likes. What do we got going on? Come on now.
Yo, this is why we pay you the big bucks.
I'm just saying, look at 7 concurrent viewers.
7 viewers and only 4 likes.
Only 4 likes.
Where are the heathens?
No shares.
Where are the heathens in the live right now?
Oh Lord, I don't think it tells us that, but
I says I have made my contribution. Thank you, White Man.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
is the true soldier right there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Ride or die right there.
Yes, she is.
All right. Well, while you guys are thinking, let's take a look at our first video for today. This one, I don't have any daughters, but I thought this one was interesting. Let's take a look.
Dad, I need a man.
Why do you need a man? I'm going to show you so you won't need one.
I need one and I want one.
He's trying to show you something.
Alright, girl. I'm going to show you how to change the tire, because you don't need a man in your life.
Yeah.
No están creyendo que you need a man in your life, eh?
Yeah, Dad. I need a man.
Why do you need a man? I'm going to show you so you won't need one.
I need one and I want one.
I have a niece now, so this like puts things into a whole different perspective.
What do you think of this video?
Oh my Lord!
First reactions, because I've seen it before. So.
Oh my Lord! That just makes me immediately think of my niece, and I'm gonna help my brother do the exact same thing. She don't need a man.
Why not? What is? To be honest, I thought that was amazing. Tell me your thoughts right now.
I mean, I think the girl, right, Rafi's right. She's honest. No, definitely, it's okay for her to recognize and understand that, but it's like she's also got to be like 7, 8. I guess for me, it's gonna be like trying to help my niece understand, like, hey, I I mean, also we also have to see what my niece is going to be capable of. I don't know what she will or won't be able to do, but once we figure that out, it's like, hey, this is why you're going to need a man in your life. But in the meantime, you got to try and figure things out by yourself. And you have your granddad, you got your uncle, you got your dad.
But that's the problem, Andre, with this society, bro. It's like we're trying to teach all these girls, oh, you don't need a man, be independent, do your own thing, like. And then all of a sudden we're like, all right, now go ahead, go find a boyfriend, go get married. And it's just like,
no, I mean,
bro, you spent my entire life telling me that I shouldn't be with a man, that I don't need a man. So it's like, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, you know, it's just teaching her correctly, right? Like, at what point, like, think about it. Like, you need the triple, I like that. You need the AAA, man. There's a Patrick in the chat. Patrick,
you're late, bro. You're late.
No, but it's like, I guess for me, it's like more of understanding that there are certain things that a lot of men in your life will be able to fulfill, like your grandfather, like your uncle and stuff, and like your dad. Let us fulfill those things, and then when you're ready to have another man fulfill the parts that we can't fulfill in your life, that's going to be different. And at that point, I need to have, you know, a very, very long conversation. You know, like some Bad Boys 2 status style conversation with the guy.
Bringing out the weapons.
Exactly. Oh, there's my brother right there.
What did Mike say?
He's like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Andre's gonna teach Ellie about cars. That is true. If she cares to learn about it. If she doesn't, she can just reach out to me and I will take care of things. And then at that point, when she is dating Mike, then
But what's wrong? I mean, obviously, maybe she's like a little bit younger, but yeah. I mean, I think that if you have a daughter, you ultimately want to teach her that ultimately her desire should be to have a family, to be with a husband, and that's gonna require her needing that husband. You know what I mean? I just feel like sometimes, you know, we prep the boys, right, to be men, to be husbands, but then we screw up with our daughters when we're teaching them, oh, you got to be independent, you're not going to need anyone, but then that's not what the Bible shows. Like, and you are going to need that partner.
For everybody here. So Manny's got 2 boys. I got 1. Our sons are cousins with each other, so this is going to be a very interesting experiment in the next 20 years for us.
In the long run?
Yeah, for sure. No, but I get what you're saying. I think it's just important to show that like even with our boys, right? It's like, hey, these are different steps that you're going to go through in your life. And in these different steps, your mom or your grandmother or your aunt, they're going to be the ones to be able to fulfill a lot of these roles. Now, obviously, there's going to be different points that they won't be able to fulfill for them, right? But you're not ready for that.
Look, Merari she kind of understands where I'm coming from. I think that maybe this little girl sees her dad and appreciates him so much that she hopes to have someone like him in the future.
And like my wife comes in with reasoning and saying she just wants a little boyfriend.
No. We're not gonna play the little boyfriend game. That we're not gonna do.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's, you know, with my niece, whoever tries to play that, you know, they're gonna have a conversation with Mr. Sig. And those that know.
Read off what Patrick just said.
All right, Patrick says, I feel like we have failed as a society on what true manhood and womanhood looks like. That's why we see what we see today. Dude, that is so true.
Bro, 100%. 110%. Number one, like, I'll agree with the whole little boyfriend thing. Like, I hate when, like, my son is 4 and my other son is 2. And I detest when anybody is, like, when they're, like, around, like, other girls. And then all of a sudden you got all these people. Oh, little boyfriend, little girlfriend. I'm just like, bro, nowhere near close ready for any of that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to let the first things come first. You prep them. And then eventually we'll get to a point where we can start thinking about that. But I think that, you know, a lot of our society, when it comes to women, we do tell them, hey, you're not going to need a man. You're going to be independent. And then once they get out in the real world, it's like, ain't no man going to want no, like, Miss Independent Woman. I'm going to do what I want. Screw you. And either come with me or take the highway. Like, nobody's going to, like, you're not going to, you don't want that for your wife. I didn't want that for my wife. Like, forget it, bro.
Too, right? It's like, you know, society's also trying to teach boys that they can just, you know, constantly be coddled by mom and dad all the time. And, you know, for the women here, I doubt you're gonna want to deal with a guy who's just constantly, stuck to the hip with mom and dad and can't do anything by themselves. It's just that same thing, man. It's just the problem of like what Patrick said. We have failed in society of what true manhood and womanhood looks like, and we're so afraid that either we try and teach our kids that they can do everything when they cannot do everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or we try and teach them that they're so incompetent that they need somebody else to do everything for them.
Yeah, I think you need to find that balance, but definitely be prepping your sons to be husbands and your daughters to be wives.
Absolutely.
Right? And showing those standards, moms, what a wife should be like, dads, what a husband should be like. So let's move on to our next video before we end today. And this has to do with open relationships.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, we'll play a little bit of it, and then we'll give you some background, and then we'll get some thoughts from you guys.
She really looks like she is the daughter of, what's this guy that she looks like?
She's not.
From the Daily Wire.
Shapiro. Ben
Yeah,
Shapiro.
she looks like she could be Ben Shapiro's daughter. It's
Yeah,
the funniest
a
thing
lot
in
of
the world.
people say that. Let me get this going.
Welcome back to the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about one of the most expected and predictable relationship dramas that everyone on the internet saw coming. We're talking about streamer Destiny and the demise of his open marriage.
Yeah, that's a girl name.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is.
Shocking. The marriage that allowed each partner to sleep with whoever they wanted, whenever they wanted, didn't work out. Crazy, isn't it? We're going to dive into all the details, but before we do, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. Okay, so if you do not know who he is, Destiny is an OG streamer who has been making content for over a decade. I've reacted to some of his stuff in previous episodes, but he and his wife, Melina, were very publicly in an open marriage where either of them could sleep with whoever they wanted, whenever they wanted, yada, yada, yada. And they were very, very proud of this publicly open relationship. So much so that they would literally go onto podcasts together just to defend their relationship and show how happy they truly were and how awesome it was and how it really, really worked in their favor. Just pretty normal stuff for, your average conventional happy couple. That happens all the time, obviously, that you have to stand up in front of a public audience and defend your relationship at all costs. Anyway, watch this clip from the Whatever podcast.
The 5 best sexual partners that I've had in my life were all the people that I were in the long-term relationships with. So, like on a one-night stand, like it's
Oh my God, it's crazy. Almost like having an emotional connection with the person you're sleeping with makes an impact. Oh my God, that's insane. Almost like commitment is a good thing. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna go on. He hasn't even really gotten into the good stuff yet, but shocker.
on a one-night stand, like it's hard to know, like one night stands aren't even that fun sexually, depending on what you're looking for.
I can agree that the longer you're with somebody, the better sex gets. So why is she not enough?
Why is she not enough?
Guys, that's Billy Ray Brandt. She's the star of Lady Ballers that Daily Wire just put out. She's so good. And that was just a hard-hitting question because his wife is literally sitting right next to him. Right next to him.
I mean,
not
like,
enough, Steve?
it's kind of like
Yeah,
asking, it's
Steven.
kind of like if you've got like a close friend, but then you've got other friends. Like, well, why is that one friend not enough? Because in life, sometimes variety is fun.
Yes, every woman loves hearing from her husband that she's just like a friend.
No. We're just friends.
You need a lot of friends. You need a lot of wives. The two are totally interchangeable. Exactly what your wife wants to hear. Yes.
What? I thought we were in the trust tree in the nest, are we not?
Marriage is
something that's
not
slightly
a
different.
friendship.
I
It is
didn't
not
say
the
marriage was
same
a
as
friendship, but
and
marriage
it
to me
doesn't have the
isn't
same
just
boundaries
about
as a
my
friendship.
going and a lot of aspects to my marriage that I share with my wife that's really unique to my wife that I don't share with other people. It's just not one of those things.
The whole thing is just so
All right. Enough of that. So, Destiny is this popular YouTuber. He was known and very open about his open relationship with his girlfriend, where they slept with multiple people. Mainly, he slept with other men and women, I believe. And with her, she just slept with like other women, not necessarily men. Either way.
She slept with some of the dudes too. That's how this whole divorce.
Well, at the end, yeah. But I think when they mentioned, for the most part, though, she only did women.
Who freaking knows? Honestly, we really never know.
Yeah, I don't follow him like that. However, ultimately the internets went wild when they found out that they ended up breaking up. So what are your thoughts on this?
This is what depravity takes us to, right? Here is a dude, like, all right, like we clarified this.
Oh, he's taking off the glasses. He is taking off the glasses.
We clarified this before, right? Like,
Bring it on. Let's go.
I'm with my wife. Manny has his wife.
Oh, yes, that's right. Separate wives.
Exactly.
What are you clearing up? I don't get it.
Hey, man, you got to make everything clear now, right? You can't assume anything anymore.
I didn't know that was something that had to be cleared
Bro,
up.
you have to make everything clear nowadays.
Oh, snap.
It's just like to hear him say that his best sexual partners were people he had long-term relationship with. It's like he starts to build up as to kind of showing like, yeah, the longer you're with somebody when you're monogamous, things are going to be good. And then it just comes completely crashing down with, well, she wasn't enough, and I have to, I have a hard time putting this into words just because there's so much wrong with this. Like, this is what happens when we allow our desires to just pull us into the insanity that we want to do, right? Like, in the same way where we talk about sin and how sin kills us slowly, it's the same thing when it comes to sex, right? Like,
you gotta wonder what happened in this man's life that he got to a point where
he thought this was okay.
He thinks because he's still the same. He thinks that this is okay, and that them breaking up had nothing to do with the way that they were behaving.
Well, again,
whatsoever.
This is just where we come into what's the biggest failure that we see with David, the biggest failure that we see with Samson, the biggest failure with Light, the biggest failure with Aaron is that they became their own gods. When we do things at a point where we think we can fulfill ourselves better than how God can, we get into these stupid situations.
Crazy situations. And to think that, being girlfriend and boyfriend is just like another friend, or being married. It's just because they're married, actually. They were married.
No, they were married. I mean,
so they were friends, and then he needed more friends.
I kind of looked more into this. Like, there was like a live stream where he was there with his wife, and he invited somebody else, and the dude was flirting with his wife on the live stream.
He wasn't flirting with her. I know which video it is.
Yeah, because you can see the depression in this guy's face.
He was upset.
And then when you even see the dude that she left him for, and how this guy was like sending suicidal, it just gets bad. It just the fact that this guy was suicidal, this guy was not making the same amount of money that he was, and then he jokes about how he's in this marriage without a prenup, and the financial implications that this puts him into as well.
So you're not okay with the open relationship thing?
Not at all. And I'm also not. And to Chetty's point, right? Pastor Chetty, he wrote on that didn't Solomon had a one-way relationship? I'm not okay with that either, because that's a whole nother thing that's also been popping off that I've seen online, where it's like a guy can get somehow 3 or 4 other women to be okay with, having a chick on the side and whatnot. Yeah, no, not a chick on the side. These are multiple women that he's married with, or this is the marriage's girlfriend.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Polygamy is coming back at full force, bro. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to see if I can phrase this properly, but he makes the point that, whether it was a monogamous relationship or a open relationship, most relationships are known to lead to divorce anyway. So who's, his thought process, who's to say that it was because it was an open relationship? And to be honest, to an extent, I feel like he has a point in the sense that ultimately when we take marriage outside of God, it becomes meaningless. And that's 100%. What we've ended up with, a society that has meaningless marriages that are not committed for a lifetime, that there is an easy way out whenever you want. There's no commitment. We're just here to have a good time until we don't have a good time, and then I'm out whenever I'm unhappy, right? And that's the complete opposite of what the Bible teaches us, right? First of all, our marriage.
Patrick just said too many entanglements. Oh my
gosh. Yes, too many entanglements. But our marriage is supposed to be an image of Christ in the church, number one. So that's our first responsibility. Outside of that, you have somebody to answer to outside of yourself, right? So in an argument, outside of God, it's it's either I'm right or you're right? There's an ego play. But when it comes to our marriage, it's no, God is right first. So we both got to answer there, and we have to come together and figure this thing out with God. And to be honest, I always tell people, I don't know how people do marriage without God. It's just crazy. I don't get it. I just don't know. And most people don't, because clearly they end up getting a ton of divorces.
What is it? 50% of divorces right now end up in divorce?
50, and then it drops down if you're Christian to 30, I want to say. And I think even if there's a subsection of Christianity I forget what it is. That brings it down to like even like 20%.
So real Christians?
Yeah, so real Christians. So real Christians, the marriage rate is significantly lower.
Isn't that crazy? So look what Chetty wrote. He says polyamory is the new term.
What does that mean exactly?
I
What
actually haven't pulled it up right
What are
here.
we doing?
So Oxford tells us that polyamory means the practice of engaging in multiple romantic and typically sexual relationships with the consent of all the people involved. That's what I was referring to earlier.
Yeah.
Or this is also with the open marriage that we.
Bro, like I don't even understand like how can you as a man like share your like
Nope.
I'll kill somebody, bro. Like I don't like I don't know like it's beyond me to think that like another man is gonna be with your wife. Like I don't. It is just crazy the way that this society has become, man. And this is, bringing it full circle before we end here. Like, this is a progression that we've seen in the United States when it comes, because this is not everywhere in the world. This is primarily in the United States, and it's spreading. But we've seen a debauchery and slowly decline where we've become complacent with one sin and we continue to the next, and we continue to the next, and we continue to the next.
I mean, you definitely see it in a lot of different places too, though, right? Like Europe is not too far behind from us.
All the stupid countries, bro.
All the stupid countries. So are we gonna include DR inside of that?
DR is a little better off than
it's not.
From that aspect with the U.S.
I mean, you just got that aspect, bro. But it's like,
I mean, it's like I said, it's definitely spreading, but there's still definitely countries that respect what marriage is supposed to be.
I don't know, man.
One woman is enough, yo. Imagine being forced to watch 2 to 4 different novelas instead of just one.
This dude.
That's funny. In the West, European included, DR included, guys. Come on.
Exactly.
All right.
That's what I'm
50,
saying.
50.
See, you're one of those Dominicans, man.
Is it as bad as the U.S. though? Because remember, DR gets its cues, a lot of its cues from the U.S. So before it happens there, it happens here. So the U.S. is leading.
No,
I'm not saying that.
Because in the U.S., you don't have 10-year-olds drinking Presidente all the time. You're going to like, bro.
Oh, please.
Bro.
Clearly, you haven't been to enough barrios, bro. Either way, this is a non-starter conversation. It's bad. Sin is bad everywhere. Worse in some ways.
Yep.
Fair point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Anderson has something against DR, clearly. So, I don't know.
Listen.
Even though you're like, you weren't born there, but you're from there. Your parents are from there.
Yeah, parents are from there.
Let me talk to your dad. I'm going to bring him in here para que te dé una pela.
Oh, my God. You'll be the first one to agree with me, yo. What are you talking about?
anyways. I told Andy that I wanted this to be a shorter live. So, we're cutting it here, guys. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Please make sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Look at you doing it by yourself, man.
I'm learning. Tell your friends about this channel. Help us grow. Anderson, do some more promo stuff.
I mean, you got everything right on there. Again, if you're watching this on after the live is done, let us know what you guys think about the reaction. Send us videos of what you want us to react to, as long as it's able to be put up on YouTube, right? We don't want to get kicked off by anybody else. I mean, there's so many different things in this that we can say, right?
Oh, I guess the last thing before we close is that we're not gonna be on for Christmas. We're gonna take that day off. Maybe we'll do like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure.
Tuesday or Wednesday, you're off, right?
I mean, I'm off until January 2nd.
Yeah, so we'll do. Stop showing off, bro. All right, so we might do one Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, I'll post it up and I'll let you guys know. As always, guys, I just want to remind you that we must persevere.
Merry Christmas and have a happy New Year as well.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
All right. God bless. Peace.
Peace.